Good evening,
Uh,
ma'am.
Good to
Good
see you
evening,
all
ma'am.
again.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Good
evening, ma'am.
evening, ma'am. Good evening. This is
Good evening,
semester 1 students or semester 3 students?
Semester
Semester
1.
third, ma'am.
Semester one.
1 and 3, both of them are there.
Semester 1 and semester 4 and semester 1 initially they will listen. If they need, they can continue.
All right, all right.
First,
Fine.
you can start with the how to prepare for examinations, madam.
All right, sir.
Thank you, madam.
So, first of all, I know everybody is doing job and everything, you're busy with your family, you are occupied with too many things. Am I right? So, by keeping that in mind, what approach I usually suggest is that you should study your content based upon concept maps. Okay. So if you study anything, for instance, I'm just giving you an overview, then I will say how you can, for semester 1, how you can prepare and all that, just for your understanding. See, at this stage of life, you have studied so much that, for instance, if I give you an example, if I ask you to write about on mango, if I give a term called mango and I will ask you to write something on mango.
Excuse me, madam. Screen is not getting. Madam.
No, I'm just orally speaking, sir, now. Later, I will tell about how
Sure,
they
sure,
can go with
sure.
the syllabus and all.
Okay, okay.
So, I'm just asking you that if I ask you to write about mango, can you write?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You can write, right? You can write
Yes, ma'am.
versions
Yes,
on
ma'am.
mango.
Yes.
So, in this stage of life, where we are in, majority of the students are at middle age in their life, or they are in late 30s, early 30s, or even late 20s. Some are very few students in the B.Ed course might be very young, where they have finished their graduation and joined B.Ed, isn't it? So, based upon this, whatsoever it is, the major approach that you're going to apply is concept maps. I'll just show you one example here. I'm just searching for an example so that you can, utilize the same approach in studying. Just give me some time. I'm just searching for that. So what happens, when you learn based on concept maps, you don't have to read the whole content. Am I making sense? You don't have to read the whole content, but the important point you will be studying on and off. So you have to create your own material. I'll just show you some examples here so that you can write it in a proper way. I don't want, because in whatever papers I have corrected, they are only writing. Obviously, we have Chat GPT these days, and majority of the students follow some model papers, but nobody reads from the readers. That's the irony these days. I'm so shocked to see this approach that many of the students are dependent on model papers, but they are not understanding what the content is. If you don't understand the content, what you will be in a position to answer the questions? I know all the questions that they are going to ask will be application based, but that doesn't mean that you're going to forget the basic theory part of that. You cannot leave the major theory part, isn't it? If there is a concept on Vygotsky theory, if there is a question that how to apply the constructivism in your classroom, how can you create constructivism in your classroom? How can you develop the constructivist approach into your classroom? Can you tell me how you are going to write the answer? I want to know your perspective. Accordingly, I'll tell you. I want answers from your end.
It has
Yes.
to be start with the introduction part first.
Okay.
How to describe.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be advantages why we are writing this concept. It has to be related to the introduction too.
Okay.
Then we end up the answer with the conclusion.
No, this is not the approach. You're saying like how a school child does. This is not the approach for a second graduate. Many of them have done masters, and this is for the second graduation for the students. Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, we have to write about the constructivism. What are the features of the constructivism? And then relate it with each point. We should relate it with our classroom experiences or how this can be implemented in the classroom. accordingly, after that, when we are done with the describing each point with the each feature with the real classroom implementation, then we can frame a constructive conclusion that
Okay.
okay, in present scenario we can include constructivism like this, and then
Okay.
we can write a conclusion.
Any other answers?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, bullet point is most compulsory. We have to write the bullet points, and after that, we will write the conclusion.
Okay.
And the
And
main
what else?
criteria of the answer is the subheadings too.
Okay. And what else?
How socially we can do Vygotsky theorem means socially it is very important, no? Socially,
No, I'm talking about constructivism. I'm not talking about Vygotsky. In
okay.
constructivism, what all the things comes? First of all, you tell me.
Cognitive theory and research.
And
John Dewey,
yes, and
brain
Pedagogical.
pedagogical practices, brain theory, research, discipline.
okay,
That's it, ma'am.
okay, that's nice. Anybody else?
Problem solving and holistic understanding too in this one.
Okay, that's nice. And what else? I'm asking you how you are going to write it. You're telling us what are the things you're saying. How you're going to structure your answer. See, very important thing that you have to keep in mind is the theories. Now you tell me what are the theories that are associated to constructivism? One student told about Vygotsky. Now tell me more. See, in B.Ed, there is, for everything, there is a theory behind it. See, as one of your friend told us that features. From where did these features have come? They didn't come from anywhere, no? There must be some theory behind it. So by keeping that in mind, there is some theory behind it. By using that theoretical information, you are going to construct your answer. This is very good approach. You are going to write an introduction.
Yeah.
After writing the introduction, you have to define what is constructivism. I'm just giving you an example. The same goes with philosophy. The same goes with assessment. The same will go with psychology, methodologies, everything. Whatever pedagogy they are asking, whatever topic they are asking, you should be in a position to speak the information based upon the theory. Theoretical background should be properly stated in your answers. If you're not stating theoretical background from where this information has come, then the information which you're providing will not have authenticity. Making sense? Are you getting my point?
Ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I don't know how many of them are able to follow me up. Please let me know.
Yes, ma'am. We are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now
Yes,
you
ma'am.
tell me what I told you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want you to repeat it or somebody explain me what I told you.
We have to write the definition first and then the futures.
No, introduction.
Introduction,
Hmm?
definition. Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Yes, meaning, definition, then
Futures, and we can
And then
take one
theories,
example.
theory.
theories related to the
Always
topic.
go with the approaches of theory.
Theory.
Either it is features you want to say, characteristics you want to say, whatever. Subheading approach of writing using subheadings is also very good. But that doesn't mean that you're only writing the subheading without any, proper understanding of the content. Then again, your answer will not go well. Sir, I request you to please give me the access to share my screen, no?
Excuse
Thank
me,
you so much, sir.
conclusion as well.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me.
Should we include in conclusion as well? Conclusion of the topic.
See, in conclusion, for education department, usually what we do is we talk about education implication. It won't be like a conclusion what ChatGPT is generating. It is something that how you apply this constructivism in your practical classes. Very small few bullet points you will write. But the body of your content should be properly stated, clearly mentioned with the theories. Like Vygotsky have spoken about the social learning. In the social learning, how the learning takes place, he spoke about 3 major components. More knowledgeable other, zonoproximal development, and scaffolding. If you are not talking about the theoretical information, the theoretical dimensions which a scientist have spoken, then your answer will not be that valid. It is always good. Either it is methodology paper, either it is assessments or anything. You should mention the theoretical background of from where this information has come from. How are you able to say that the learning takes place like this? That information, obviously somebody might have done research, that scientists have done some research and he have drawn some conclusion. Those conclusion are again used into your classrooms. So this is where your validation of your answer is. If you want to write a content which is validate, which is authentic, always take the support of theoretical information. Now you have a good generative AIs that are available. I'm just giving you an idea to ask even your any AI, whichever you are using, to give the information based upon the theoretical background. If that thing is with you, that kind of information is with you, then you can write wonderful answers. And there is nobody who can stop you being a topper. Because previous batches also, we have seen gold medals coming in B.Ed batches. Previous batches also, which I have taught, according to the information given to me by sir. So I believe that if you follow that approach in examination, but that is about the examination. I told you how to write an answer when it comes to examination point of view. Now, when it comes to preparation, preparation will be different. Examination writing will be different. What I just discussed now was how to write answers in your examination. One more thing what you can do is, while you're writing your answers, you can add some of such, such concept maps in between for your, to make your answers more easy to understand. For instance, if you have more graphical representations, don't you think that answer becomes very interesting to read? As a teacher, I'm telling you, you're all of you are teachers, working teachers, you know how a student should write, how it looks. Isn't it? So I am asking you a question that if you use such bullet points and such, what do you say, graphic organizers in between, how do you feel? Do you know what is a graphic organizer?
Graphical representation.
No.
Flow charts.
Flow charts or like pie charts.
Exactly. Small
Yeah.
flow charts, a pie diagram, or a mind map in between. That makes, the reader also feel that, array, this child knows something. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just share you another document. For some reason, my internet is very slow today. And I will just share you another document so that you can understand how beautiful it looks when you write such things in between. All right. Can you all see who have done this, Papa? Can you see this, my
Yes,
screen?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
See, this is about the Charvak philosophy. See the basic information she has written, positivism. And then in between, she have used,
Ma'am, it is zoomed so much, ma'am.
yeah.
Okay,
See,
ma'am.
in
Now.
between, can you see how nicely they have written the concept map? Theoretical part is there. In between, the concept map has come. Again, theoretical part is there. Again, bullet points are there. See how nicely it is written? If you write in such a way, don't you think the examiner will give you good marks?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
should follow. I'm giving you this. I don't know who have written this. I don't know how to erase it. Can you erase this lines? I don't know how to erase them. I got it. Yeah. Now, so you got it, no? If you use such graphic organizers, see how the concept map is. It is having longitudinal, big line in between. They have written the arrows. Are you able to see this? This is again the script of a student. So like this, you should write your answers, because when a reader is reading your answer, if you have studied thoroughly, in between, if you are using such graphic organizers or concept maps or mind maps, it makes the reader to feel that this student has studied well. Because in a one go, they will understand how well you have designed your answer. Designing your answer, structuring your answer can make you score very good. This is the basic information a student should keep in mind when they are answering, when they are writing an exam. Structuring your answer is very important. See, there are some students who will write so many bullet points, but they are irrelevant, has nothing, no content. You see how many papers that the student have written? Only 4 papers. In these 4 papers, 2 religions are spoken. Charuvak and Jainism. See how nicely and wisely, see how terminologies she have used. When you are writing any content, you should use the terminologies. You should give some importance to what theories are given. Like for instance, I gave you an example of Vygotsky. Many of them will write about constructivism, blah 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 blah, whatever they feel like they will write, but they will not give any respect to the scientist, how much they have invested on that. They invested so much on that scientific information, then that scientific information became so common. Now we are applying that information. But when it comes to answering, if a student doesn't give that justification, do you think the reader will give you good marks? Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Because how many papers I have corrected, I felt so disappointed that everything whatever they felt like they have written, they don't even know. Just classroom, they'll mention. Because obviously, baat hai, we give you question paper based on application based. But that doesn't mean you will forget the theory. That doesn't mean you're not going to mention what is the theory all about, what is the pedagogy all about, what is the approach all about. None of them will write about the approaches. None of them will talk about the technical terminologies. In philosophy also, whatever they feel like writing. See, this is the philosophy paper I'm giving you. Example, Dravyas. See how nicely she have written. So it's very important that you should give emphasis to the terminologies, and you have to write it very well by using such graphic organizers. Is it clear? If you have any questions, you can ask how to write the answers in the examination point of view. After this, I'll tell you how to prepare for that. Any questions? Anything you feel like I'm missing out? You can have a discussion.
Ma'am, can you repeat once again, ma'am? Step-by-step process. First, in the introduction, then features.
Introduction, there is meaning and definition. Certain concepts might have meaning, might not have definition, isn't it? Some of them might have definition. If there is definition, meaning will also be there. But
Yes.
certain like philosophical concepts might only have meaning. It can have characteristics, it can have features. Some concepts can have factors. When it comes to theoretical approaches in psychology and philosophy, or assessments or pedagogies, we might have factors. Apart from factors, then comes the theoretical background. On what basis this information is there? On what basis this constructivism is standing? On what basis Jainism is standing? On what basis Buddhism is standing? What is the Vedic approaches? What is that complete theory in the Vedic approaches when we are talking about, whenever the question is coming? So you should talk about, you should write about that what is that information that is being asked in the question paper. Constructivism, you have to write about the constructivism. You should write the dimension, the theorists, the proponents. For example, if they are asking about Shat Darshanas in philosophy, you should write each founder of that school. You should write what was the concept of that darshanas, how they have explained about the darshana, what are the main components that they are there in each darshana. So you should have that understanding. When you write in that way, it looks that you have understood the concept and you are producing the information. If you have not understood the concept and you're producing the information, the answers will go haywire. There won't be any head and tail of that answers. If you don't have any head and tail in your answer scripts, what scores you will get? Tell me. You are also teachers. You also give a structured answer and you want your students to give a proper answers. So as we are the teachers of yours, we also want you to give answers in that way. It doesn't mean that whatever you feel like you are giving, you're writing your examples, the whole paper, they filled it with examples with no head and tail. See how they have mentioned examples are also there now in this flowchart, if you could see. See, in this flowchart, they have mentioned about the examples also. See, Jiva living things, Ajiva non-living things, liberated with body, bound with body, that is Atma, bound with Atma. All this is given. Like this only you should write. Need not necessary that after that, if you want to give, you can give explanation. So like this, the approach should be. Proper terminology should be written. Please, I request you all, whatever you are studying, study in the form of theoretical approach. You should please give respect to the scientists. Whatever the approaches, methodology, techniques, strategies, whatever the pedagogy being asked in your examination, it has some theoretical background. There is some information that was existing. Based upon that, they have applied that in theory and they got some good result, and because of which the whole world is following that. So you should give significance and respect to the scientist, mention their name in the theory, and also the kind of factors or dimensions they have studied. Like I gave you the example of Vygotsky. He spoke about 3 major things: MKO, more knowledgeable other, zone of proximal development, and scaffolding. So these 3 things are very important. You should mention what this theory means and how you can apply that in your classroom. That gives a good answer. So you understood factors are there, characteristics are there. Then comes this body, which I told you, theoretical background. In the theoretical background, how the theorists have framed this information, how they have done the research, what are the major dimensions, and based upon those dimensions, how you can apply that into your classroom. Then when you are giving, don't give huge examples. Students start writing the examples and they give such big examples, pages together. That doesn't make any sense. It's not a role play that you are writing. You just give one statement. Like, for example, when it comes to scaffolding. Give me one example for scaffolding. What do you mean by scaffolding?
Role play,
Knowledge.
role play stories.
Scaffolding is as if we are making a building, right? So we make for the strong support, like to support the base, we make scaffoldings.
Exactly. So who is the supporter in the classroom?
The educator, the teacher.
The teacher is the scaffolder. So what are you going to mention here? The teacher, and you're also using technology, isn't it? You're using teaching learning material. So these are the different scaffolding approaches. But if a teacher is there in her teaching, she can use teaching learning material. It could be technology based, and she can help the student to scaffold the information and make the learning easy. In 2
Yes.
statements, you should give the example. Making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are
Yes, ma'am.
not going to write examples which are too heavy, too huge, which has no head and tail. Array class ka scenario, they will explain the complete scenario of the class. Do you think that is an answer? That's not an example. You should not frame an example like this. Very precise and very easy to understand. First of all, you should understand the theory. Then only you will be able to write something. No? If you don't understand, what you will write? So this is one part. Now you know how to write in the examination. In the conclusion, you're not going to write conclusion. It's a kind request because many of them are using generative AI. In the generative AI, they will give you conclusion. But when it comes to education department, we do not have any conclusion. In the conclusion, what you're going to do is how you apply this education implications. Implication, how you're going to imply this. How you apply that information. That you have to write in the bullet points. Like in the last few things. Few things you should write it down. This is about the answering in the examination. Is it clear? Anything else? Any questions now? You can ask. After this, I'll tell you how to prepare. Then we'll go to the research methodology.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, Madhulika ma'am can go first.
Thank you. So my question was, we are studying to the best extent we can, but unfortunately, suppose we get a question which we suddenly forgot the answer, or which we
I'm
deemed
coming to that
certain.
point. And at that preparation part, I'll tell you. Now, I'm only asking you, you are clear now how to write in examination the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Preparation, I'll tell you. How to prepare, I'll tell you the next second part. The first part is how to write the answer.
Excuse me, ma'am. This is Jyoti. Ma'am, the screen you are sharing is a real answer sheet of any student? Like,
answer script आपको you will get for 28 pages.
okay.
So what
the
you should
same
do
pattern
is
will
you
come.
should
Na?
write.
We can write same pattern also, right?
Yeah. What you should do is you should write 1.5 page short answer or 1 page. Something 1.5 is more acceptable because you are say adult learners. Okay.
Yes.
For you,
Yes,
it is always good that you should at least write 1.5 page for short answer.
Okay.
When it comes to long answer, you can go for 3 pages or front and back. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm not telling complete 1
Yes.
page.
Okay.
Front and back half. Short answer.
1.5. Okay.
1.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to long answers, you can go with 3 pages for front and back, which means 1.5 page.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
you can say it. You can also give for 4 pages, means 2 pages. One front and back, 4 pages. 2 pages
Okay.
for long answers. Or 3
Okay.
pages for long answer. It's up to you. What happens? Sometimes we know that content very well, so you can write it down. If
Yes.
sometimes what
Yes,
happens
ma'am.
that you might forget that answer, so you give less. You first of all, what you do is whenever you get the question paper, you figure it out. Which question you can give, you can write more. Which question
Like
you
we
will
used to
write
do
less.
in our board exam. Which questions we know
But
properly.
again, I'll
we
tell
should
you
mark
one
them.
simple thing I'll tell you is we go for online assessments. We usually have online correction. We majority faculty does online correction. It's a kind request to you all is please write the answers in one place only. For example, if you have started short answers, please write short answers first. All short answers first. Then shift for long answers. What you do is the moment you what is my practice and how I got distinction, I am telling you my practices. Okay, what I usually used to do is the moment I used to get the answer script and the question paper, I used to divide my complete script into divisions, into questions. And I used to see short answers. If I'm very good, I'll write the short answers first. If I'm very good at long answers, I'll write the long answers first, but all together. So first I will finish, I'll used to give space. Like I used to divide the pages. I used to say, first long answer, I'll give 2.5 page. Second wala, I can give only 1.5 page. Like that, I used to divide the complete script, the complete booklet, and then I used to start filling. Half of your work will be done. And in this way, even before 5 minutes, you can at least write few sentences for each answer. In this way, what will happen? You will attempt all the answers. The only problem what majority students will face at this stage of life is they will not answer all the questions. and they say that, Arey, I couldn't write long answer, I left the short answer. This should never happen. When such a thing, it will take time. 10 minutes you will get, you will waste time. Or else before only, when you're sitting, you divide, because you know the question paper format. You know these questions short, these many short answers are going to come, these many long questions are going to come. Divide your book immediately. Whatever numbers you want to denote, you don't write the number. Just as a dot also, if you can give, if you put a line also, that's more than sufficient. Divide your answer scripts first. The moment you get it, divide your answer scripts. The moment you divide your answer scripts, it will be easy for you to answer. Sometimes what happen, our mentality is like that. Our mind works like that. While you're writing one answer, you will get another question's ka answer. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
what you can do in this way? You have given the space there, no? You can immediately go and write that point there.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Isn't it? If you
Yes,
can give
ma'am.
me
Yes,
some,
ma'am.
if you can give me 5 minutes, because the azan will be too loud. I cannot speak and you can't
Okay.
even listen. So give me 5 minutes, I'll come back.